Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first presentation of IMI Next Wave's 2023 content series, Shifting Purchasing Behaviors Through Economic Realities. Very salient topic for right now, coming into the 2023 year. My name is Vanessa Topazer. I am a Senior Vice President at IMI International. So nice to see so many of you back from last year, and really nice to see some new names in the crowd. If you are not familiar with who IMI is, just a little bit about us. We are an independent strategic marketing insights consultancy with the core purpose of insight driving profit. Our core purpose is to uncover the insight needed to make really strong decisions and ultimately to drive your ROI, always from the lens of the consumer and from the lens of how little do you actually need to spend to get your intended return. We have a number of different tools in our toolkit by which we use depending on the client ask and the client need. The insight we're bringing to you today is from our new tools, IMI 24, as well as our Pulse suite of products. This is where we have insight at our fingertips to look at over 1,200 different passion points, 400 different brands, 275 categories, and about 40 plus different demographic splits that we can uncover to really understand who to talk to, how to connect, where to be, and what to say efficiently and effectively, because we know that you need to move fast. We have a lot to look forward to in 2023, so we just wanted to give you a quick sneak peek of what's going to be coming up. And as always, if you have questions or there's content that you're really interested in, please feel free to reach out. We're always focused on fact-based insight to drive your profit. So today we have shifting purchase behaviors. Next up, we have the power of brands going to be coming back with acceleration through inflation, and that's going to be in March. And then the rest of our lineup, we have a pulse on youth, our next generation, that we know is extremely important for many of our categories and many of our brands. Driving connection through sponsorship, a spotlight on health and wellness and environmental well-being, as well as promotions and how to win the game. And this isn't all of it. To stay informed and get the first access to our upcoming events, please follow us on LinkedIn if you aren't already, and look out for our emails. So for today, if you have any questions as Dawn is going through the presentation, please use the Q&A area on your screen. I know that we're all used to it by now. And then this deck is going to be in your inbox by Tuesday at the latest. Now, over to you, Dawn.
Hey, Vanessa, thank you. All right, anyone who's new will realize I speak fairly quickly and flip very quickly. What we're trying to do here is get through 30 minutes, inform you of the shifting purchase behaviors, surprise you, confirm what you're already thinking. And as Vanessa just identified, the information is available ongoing. Okay, so let's go. If I can get my... We're going to look at on consumers' minds. Anyone who's heard us speak, we talk about unaided. What are people thinking? Let's not bias them. Let's find out what they're thinking, what they're concerned about, what's happening, how do they feel financially? Because there's a lot of talk, a lot of rhetoric about finances. Leading brands we're going to look at to see who they think offers the best value, who are they most interested in now, who do you think is going to be future success, who's going to be favored online. Again, this is unaided. So let's hear who your big challenges are. Then the big section is why and how people buy, drivers of purchase compared to 13 years ago, today, and looking forward. So how much have things really changed? Digital has been around a long time. Social has been around a long time. So how much has changed recently? How much has changed in 13 years? We'll go through about 6 case studies and then finish off with some questions if you have some. On consumers' minds. So on consumers' minds, what is their financial situation? We asked 10,000 people, 5,000 Canada, 5,000 US. What was going on? This is unaided, but to summarize, 38% or over a third, good, great, improving. That's right now. If you read the newspaper, listen to stuff, you don't believe that. But the fact is that's unaided what they think right now. Stable, decent, okay, about 4 in 10 people. And then terrible, struggle, scared, poor, disaster is that 1 in 4, 1 in 5. So there is a significant portion struggling. It's the same percentage as pre-pandemic. This number was significantly higher during the pandemic before the government actually came in with some incentives. So this is nothing new, but the fact is it's not 80% terrible or struggling, which it was before government subsidies. It was at 55% terrible or struggling before the government incentives last March 2020. So not good news, not bad news, but the news that you read and listen to is far worse than actually what the consumers are saying, because you got 70 to 80% saying stable or good, great. So if you're in a long-term category, that's important because their purchasing will continue. If you sell boats or you sell cars or you sell other factors, inflation or interest rates will have an impact, but people will still be out there buying. Let's look at severe concern for global issues today. This is aided now. Okay, so we're looking at the future impact of inflation in Canada in November 2022. Here in the gray bar was at 63%, now it's at 62%. So we're already at the new normal of inflation and fear of prices. They're already living that. Ability to afford to live day to day has gone up marginally from 50% to 54%. Climate change, global warming about a third, and catching COVID at 27%. So there has not been big changes since November. In fact, there hasn't been big changes since September. Here's the US, same sorts of numbers. Down a bit on future inflation, down a bit on afford to live day to day. But there are those people out there suffering. So I'm not trying to say, or we're not trying to say there's not people out there suffering dramatically, but the majority of longer term categories, more costly categories, there's still people out there, the significant majority, they're still going to do what they said they were going to do beforehand. So that's good news. We look at concern a couple different ways. So let's just look at the US column. Most concern in my lifetime. That's a really serious question. This is the most concerned I've ever been in my lifetime. COVID at 9%, down 5% since November. Climate change, 15%, most concerned ever. Global warming, 14%. If you ask an aided question, where you say, are you concerned? You'll get, as you look on the right-hand side, 60% have some concern, but big concerns, one in 6, 1 in 7. Financial health at 24% aided, the same number as severe concern when we looked unaided. On the right-hand side, very similar. Even though Canadians and Americans think they're so differently, especially Canadians thinking of Americans, the fact is we feel the same way. Let's not confuse politics and politicians with human beings. And the fact is, if you look at the numbers, they're shockingly close to each other. And this is 800 people per country completed this week. So this is this week's results. Let's continue. Impact of inflation on current prices, 31% most concerned in my lifetime. Overall concern, 81% in the US, 88% in Canada. Future impact, 27%. Meaning, here we are now, yeah, it's a pain in the ass, lots of prices, lots of costs, but the fact is they don't believe it's gonna be much greater. We're already at the climax, they hope we're at the climax right now. And again, this was done this week. So this is here, if you look at 90% of Canadians, 80% Canadians are concerned about the future price. 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, there's obviously concern because they want to afford to live. The fact is they think the worst is over and they're in a sea of sameness now. So concern levels across North America are very similar. You wouldn't believe that if you listen to the news. You'd think we're so vastly different, and we're not from a purchasing behavior. That's why we'll flip back through Canada, US. We have both pieces of information. We actually have the UK, Australia, and a lot of other countries as well, but we're just going to focus on Canada, US today and switch back and forth. So ability to afford to live day to day. 66% are concerned, 21% most ever. In Canada, 73 and 24. So 1 in 4, 1 in 5 are the most concerned they've ever been in their life. And that's the same as pre-pandemic. 3 in 4 are currently not paralyzed by their financial reality. That's really important. That means we can continue on business. Yes, there's going to be some people that won't be able to buy. Yes, that's horrific. However, if you're running a category, running a business, the fact is you'll be good. So overall, financial concern has not accelerated over the past 6 months, which we would not believe because there's so much news about the 17th rate increase, inflation. We know there's some stability and people are feeling that. Intention to carefully budget and buy only what they need. That's the statement. If we look at it, millennials, Gen Zs, boomers in the US, about 4 in 10, they're going to carefully budget. Gen Zs, a little more flippant about what's going to happen, 28%. Obviously, they don't have as much money, but they're not going to carefully budget because they have a zest to live. In the next 12 months, intention to eat more at home, up 47 and 43% in Canada, US. Out at a restaurant, down 27, 46%. You can see here, less intention to reduce eating out in the US and Canada, but both not a good news story from disposable income, but they obviously see some financial issues, so they're going to contract a bit. This is drink more coffee, just something to look at home, up 30%, up 24%. and at restaurants, 13 and 34. So you can see people are going to go out a bit less, spend a bit less, be a little more discerning about where they spend their money. How about travel or plan a vacation? On the left-hand side, this is the US. On the left-hand side, plan a vacation, you can see under 50K, down negative 19%. Household income of 100 grand plus, up 7%. So remember, you have to look at your category specifically. You can't just take averages. Averages will kill your decisions. The fact is, higher income can still afford to do it. They will do it. Travel outside your country in the US, up 13% among the group with 100,000 plus, minus 10 among less than 50,000. If you do a random sample of all the US, it's going to be mixed. You have to segment by people that are going to do the intended action to see what's actually going to happen. If we look at most concern ever in my life to be able to afford to live day to day, it's about the same across Canada. 1 in 4, young, old, does not matter. A bit different in the US. We'll see that 1 in 4 are paralyzed by their financial reality. And in the US, it's the older people are much less concerned. If we look at most concern ever by male and female, you can see females are more concerned. People with children are more concerned. And again, probably more pragmatic and practical and realistic about what's going on. So again, the fact is just looking at, there's not something that's 60%. We're just trying to go through this to make sure we understand where this is going. So we looked at all that, looked at concerns about 1 in 4. So let's look at price only. We've studied this for 20 plus years. And what we're looking at is what's the size of the price? Because the easy thing to do is discount your price. It kills your brand. It means you're not worth what it is, but you have to do it to compete at times, but it should not be a strategy. We looked at 1,600 people. We took 14 deep dives across categories, and we'll give you the aggregate here. We have each individual one, but purchase the lowest price every time. 18% in Canada, or sorry, 17% in Canada, 18% in the US. That's up 1% since November 22. So when they go in the store, or when they go online, or when they look for a service, purchase lowest price every time. It's about 1 in 5, 1 in 4. Okay. In any one category, look at the bottom, the highest of any of the 14 categories, 23% in the US. The lowest is 14%. So by price only is between 14 and 23% in the US. In Canada, it's between 11 and 28%. Still doesn't hit 30%, which means 80%, not the lowest price. It's going to deal on distribution, what your brand stands for, is what you're offering, what are you communicating, where you sit. It's not price. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for your brand. So 1 in 5 are the lowest price always shoppers. It's always been that way. It used to be 14% if I go back 20 years ago. If you look at Walmart, interesting, everyday low price, not everyday lowest price. You don't have to be the lowest, you have to be low price. So that's one key thing to think about. Just a bit over 2 in 5 by less than 50% of category based on the lowest price, meaning 40% don't even care. They don't pick the lowest price or even low price. They buy the brand they want to buy or a selection of brands they want to buy. And on average, 80% of decisions are made outside of lowest price, while only 20% are only on lowest price. So when you get the brief that it has to be price, you're only appealing to the 20%. All you're doing is discounting 80% that might buy you for another reason. So before you knee jerk to price, let's consider other options. We deal with a lot of categories where temporary price reduction hits 50, 60, 70%, which is absurd. But I know that it's easy for me to sit here and say the retailers demand it and you're off on price every week, and try and stay away from it as much as possible. I know I'm preaching to convert, especially to the CFO out there, but that's cool. Also, we're hearing a lot of talk about private label and switching, switch off. It's happened in 2008 big time. It happened back in the 90s, happened in the 80s. So what's going on here? So this is the US. Intention of buying more private label products in the next 12 months. Gen Z's, not really, 11%. They don't care. Private label, what's that? I'm going to buy a brand. I want a brand. Millennials, and you can see it increases as age increases. And the fact it goes up to 30% with boomers. So private label will skew towards millennials to boomers. Gen Z's, not nearly as much. I would take extra time to shop for the best value. 3 or 4 to 10. They will take. That's just common sense. That is the same all the way through. So they intend to do more of this. 80% already do it, and they intend to do more of it. So they will shop. So how good are you online, offline, at retail? Where's your price disparity? Does it actually work and make sense? You have to think through that. How about purchase the lowest price every time in the next 12 months? What percent are going to do more of this in the US? Again, it's about a third. They're going to do more of looking at price. Price will become more important unless we can change the value equation. So 1 in 3 intend to buy the low price value more, but 2 and 3 plan to continue purchasing as they have in the past. Remember, it's the glass 2/3 full, not the third empty. And if you listen to people right now, you go into boardrooms, it's price, 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 what's going to happen? The power of your brand and effectiveness of your marketing beyond price are critically important today, in 2023 and beyond. This is nothing new. People underestimate the value of the brand. Vanessa will do a fantastic session in the next month on brand, showing how it protects, how it drives, how it gets your incremental sales, how it drives incremental profit, and it's crucial. There's already stuff online from last year we presented, but brand is absolutely crucially important. Otherwise, you're competing on price, which is a march to death. How about switch brands they normally purchase to the cheapest price? So their brands are loyal to the cheapest price. Again, millennial or Gen Z is the least and about a third. So there is going to be some transfer. We're not saying it's not going to be, unless your brand's really strong. And do you have a differentiated brand? And do you have a brand with a purpose? And do you have a brand that means something? Do you have a brand that actually delivers the needs? But again, it's younger. Switch brands they normally purchase to private labels. So one, if you look back on a page, it's the cheapest price versus a private label. Gen Zs aren't thrilled with private label. This is in Canada or the US. It's okay. But remember, they don't consider Kirkland a private label. They consider Kirkland a Costco brand. They don't consider great value private label. Us in the trade consider it that. Consumers don't, especially Gen Z. So if you look here, private labels again distorts as it goes. As you get older, more looking for the private label brands. So in the US, boomers are least concerned about finances today. The older you are, the less concerned, probably because you've been through it before. But the greatest intention to focus on taking time to get the greatest value. Interesting. They have less concern because they know how to shop to get the best value. So you have to be very conscious of what's going on there. So let's talk about brands that lead today. This is unaided again. We ask the question, favorite brand with the best value. Let them fill it in, no bias, no questioning. Big sample size, 5,000 Canada, 5,000 US. So offers the best value, a really tough question, but we're looking for best value, not lowest price. So this is unaided. What's the list look like? Not surprising. In the USA, Amazon, Apple, Walmart, Nike, and Great Value, which is the Walmart brand. On the right-hand side, Apple, Amazon, Walmart, Costco, Nike. Interesting, Apple and Nike are in there, the best value. They have built a really strong brand. You cannot compete with them because it's such a strong brand. They get the premium, and why they're Apple's a $1 trillion company is because they have such a strong brand. But you also see Great Value, Walmart, Amazon in there. So you have to be conscious of the fact that they will look towards those areas. What are the other ones? Netflix. It's a service. But the fact is, who offers great value? Who offers value to the person? Target, Samsung, Spotify, Dove in the US. And in Canada, you got Netflix, Samsung, no name, obviously a big blah, blah brand, Kirkland, and President's Choice. If you look at the last three, all private label. And the fact is, that's who offers the best value. It's not the best private label, it's the best value. So don't think no name Kirkland, Great Value, President's Choice are best value, or sorry, those are not private labels to consumers. They may be to you, but consumers think of them as mainstream brands providing great value, unaided in the top 10. So that's who you're competing against. If you're not there, you can't say, oh, it's because it's a package goods. No, it's not. Amazon's not a package goods. Apple's not a package good. Nike's not a package goods. Spotify's not. Samsung's not. It's anything across the board. So how about brands more interesting now than they were 12 months ago? Again, unaided. Who's the leading edge? Are there any new up and comers? So let's go into this. If you look here, Amazon, Nike, Apple, Walmart, Samsung, Adidas. It's common. They got a strong brand. Target's in there. Google, Netflix, Sony. Right-hand side, same list except Lululemon. The only two that are different, remember the similarities to Canada, US, is Target and Lululemon. Significantly different. Or that's the only difference, which is not significant, giving 9 out of 10 brands in both are the same. And again, 5,000 people per country and over 1,000 brands mentioned. There's the top 10. We have a list down to 1,000, obviously. Let's go to value brands. R means ranked. So if you look at US, you've got 2, 4, 6, 9 different brands. Amazon, Walmart, Target, Shein or Shine, eBay, Costco, Aldi, Great Value, and Kirkland. All in the top 100. Right-hand side, you got 9 with Joe Fresh in there, Great Value, eBay, winners. Where you can get value, they're there. So if you're in the marketplace, you have to compete against these because you know people are out there looking for value. There's a lot of other things they're looking for is in brand when you see Nike and you see Apple in the top 10 best value. How about huge success in the next 5 years? A different dimension. Who do they think is going to be hugely successful? Guess what? Amazon, Apple, Nike, Tesla. Tesla's 4 in the US and 3 in Canada. Same type of list. Netflix, Spotify, Google. TikTok here in Canada, not in the US, but again, there's a sea of differences, but there's a sea of sameness between Canada and the US as far as brands, why they're buying, what they're buying. And we've got other dimensions. We'll just end with favorite place to shop online. So again, this is unaided to get some perspective. Top 10, sorry, I'll learn how to use my computer soon. Amazon, Walmart, eBay, Target, these are online. So if you're trying to sell products and services, this you have to compete against. If you look at that first list on the left or right-hand side, they sell almost everything. So if you are a product that does not have direct distribution, you're going to have to be conscious of all of these, because if they're looking for value and they're going to take more time to shop, any of these are options for them. Here's the top 20 list. There are lots in here that you can see, new, different, but there's a whole bunch of different options for people to figure out and identify what's going to happen and where's the best value. Is your retail store, Canadian Tire, have the same price for products? Is the product in Canadian Tire the same price as Amazon online, the same prices as Costco online, same prices Walmart online? Those are the things that people will be looking at because they're looking for the best value, and everyone shops online now. So let's go to the drivers of purchase. That's what we're here for, and we'll go through this. It's 110 marketing activities, and we'll go through relatively quickly. So change over the past decade. This is Canada. So this is actually 12 years ago or 13 years ago. So down the bottom, 2010, 2012, 2014, 2019, December 2022, all big sample sizes. Up here is the reason why they buy and the change. So online research has obviously gone up significantly, up 18%, but absolutely nothing since 2019. Price discount down 3%, still 7 and 10. Trusted brand has been there since 2010 and maintains. So the more you can build the brand with great communication and great value, the better you are. Healthy has been a significant player, 65%, 65%, and loyalty, obviously. Those are the top 5. Let's keep going. Discount coupons down a bit, but not significantly. Recommendation has gone up 11%. The fact is, recommendation, that does not mean NPS. That means someone proactively talking about the brand, not would you, but did you. In-store display, crucially important. And that doesn't mean on the shelf, that means in the store. That means around the store. That means sampling. So when retailers tell you you can't do that, it's at the peril. So I'd push collectively to make sure you can do that. Environmentally friendly, from 50% in 2010 to 53%. So while we might think it's a massive change, it hasn't been. It's been around. We've been conscious of it. 13 years later, it's around the same level. And digital coupon up significantly because obviously digital works. Again, we have a list of 110. This is what it looks like. We just want to show you 16 to 20. TV commercial was 36% because a lot of people go, they're dead. Well, they're not. 2010, 36%. Now it's 38%. That means 4 and 10. It's a big number. Promotions still work, 36 to 41. And this one, friends becoming fans of a brand, up 17 points to 33%. So there's a fragmentation, of proliferation of options for people influencing purchase. But the change is not as dramatic as we think it is, except for some online work that we looked at. How people shop past 12 months. So we have here a 67% purchased after researching online. That's up 3% versus 12 months ago. Okay, or sorry, versus pre-COVID. Here it is down here, versus pre-COVID. So it's only up 3%. Purchased after researching through social media, half. And we just highlight some other places. Gen X's online research, 74%. Look at that. So consider online value that you're offering. We can see big increases for social media among millennials and Gen X's, and a small increase with boomers, and it's at 3 and 10. So if you want to go through social media, you're probably not going to hit 55 plus. You'd have to come here for that. But again, I want to restate, a big portion of your audience is boomer. You might want to think online, traditional, not through social. Let's look at shopping at online on Amazon, Walmart, Costco. You can see it's 73% Amazon, 58 Walmart, which is huge. Costco, 36%. What the changes, Gen X is up significantly since pre-COVID, up 12% to 82%. 8 and 10 have bought on Amazon in the past 12 months. Boomers down to 68%. And the fact is, they had the height during the pandemic, or before the pandemic, and now they've reduced that. And then Walmart is up significantly among the boomers, obviously a very attractive skew. Price versus time. What percent take time to look for the best price? 83%. It's up 4% and equal across the board. Help pay a little extra to save time shopping. 56% down one. So the point is, there's not big swings. If you have great value, some people are in a rush. Depends on what the needs of state is, needs occasions are. But the fact is, they will take time to look for the best price. So you better be competitive, not the lowest, but competitive. And some people just flippantly or go on and save some time and purchase the more expensive. Where they shop online, sorry, I apologize, it's the wrong title, but let's look at in-store. And if you look at it, purchase because of display I saw in store, 6 in 10 people. Down among boomers, but significant among all age groups. You need to have your store in the aisles, or I mean, so not your store, your product in the aisles where you can. You're going to say, I can't do that. Well, it's wherever you can do it, push it, collectively push it as far as you can. Experience the service or product, 55%, up 26% among Gen Zs. So how do you get the product in people's hands? Whether it's an electronic product, a telecommunication, a car, or a food product, how do you get it there? Because significant need. New, again, very strong, and sample the product, 57%, 62% up 15% among Gen Zs. If you want youth, let them try your product. It's nothing new, it works, it's back, get them to sample, get them to experience if you want to drive business. Impact of price discounts, always been a leader, nothing better than giving cash away, but why would you unless you absolutely had to? So buy one, get one free, 72%, no big changes, up 3%. Special price or digital coupon, 6 to 7 out of 10. They will take free money every time. That is not surprising. Same numbers in Canada. Impact of shipping, big influx, Amazon Prime, obviously. Free shipping, 68%, we'll look at that. Across the board is important. Next day delivery, 62, deliver in 3 days, 62%. So you have to have free shipping, does not need to be next day, don't overpromise, and don't overcomplicate things. Obviously, youth want next day delivery more, but both are acceptable. And live tracking for delivery, important, but not as important as free and quick. Nothing new there, I don't think, but that just identifies not changed dramatically since pre-COVID. Loyalty is still here to stay. It's growing, it's important, growing among millennials, growing among Gen Zs, receiving loyalty programs up 14 points. Among boomers, less important right now. And moving forward, it's dropped since February 2020. The one thing that you can look at always is people are always super motivated after they redeem points to go back to the store or go back and earn more. So we look through that, and loyalty is here. It's continuous. Date back to 1990 or probably 2000. It's about the same number. How about community cause? A lot of conversation, community cause, sustainability. Probably had 5 sustainability conversations this week. But if you look at it, if we look at community, that's the key. 58% made locally, up 15 points for Gen Z. Supports the local community. Could be sustainability, could be environment, could be cancer, could be kids, could be mental health, could be a lot of different things. But keeping it local is crucial. If we look at made locally, up 18% among boomers. One of the biggest changes that COVID did was buy locally, support locally. There's a big movement that way. All the others among boomers is down 10, 15, 12%. Support charities up 15% among Gen Zs, and eliminate climate change up 14%. Overall, 1%. The point there is you have options. The key thing is not one specific thing, is make sure when you do whatever, you support locally. That is absolutely crucial, or they believe they're supporting in that community. That's really important. Traditional mass, people want it dead for some reason, or some do, some love it. I just objectively look at, do consumers buy because of it? TV commercials, 44%, up among Gen Zs, up significantly among millennials. Magazine up significantly as well, whereas newspaper had a marginal drop, and billboard and transit. But the fact is, traditional is not dead. If it's bad TV, or TV that doesn't go on YouTube or in other places, or bad magazine content, it's not going to work. We can see a significant portion working. Social media, YouTube, Facebook, you can see in the 3 and 10, right? So just look back. We go back to TV's 44%, YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, 25 to 39%, 55% for TikTok among Gen Zs, 41% among Facebook, up 10%. People, maybe the usage is down on Facebook in some cases, but the person because of it, smaller group still buying. You can see millennials up across Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Look on the far right-hand side with boomers, 0%. It's tough to talk to 5,000 people or 959 people and get not one person buying because of it. and it used to be 4%, and Snapchat 5%, which is virtually zero. So you look at it much differently, all the way up from 13 to 55. Social works, but there's a lot of other options. So let's look at options that drive purchase. In-store aisles, 59%. Social media, between 30 and 39. And I have nothing against social media. In-store shopper marketing is forgotten. If you want to drive business, use it. It's crucial. Last 3 feet, it's crucial. It's been crucial for 30 years, will be crucial for the next 30 years. Experience for the first time, TV commercial, all stronger. Even if you look at the Gen Zs, far stronger than YouTube or Facebook. TikTok is still about the same as experience for the first time or saw in stores. So deliver a compelling message is much more impactful. Let's look at other options. Trusted brand name, 75%. Makes me feel good, 77% among Gen Zs. Positive customer review, 60%. Supports local community, 52%. The buying the mediums of social is not a strategy, no more so than prices. You need to build your brand, have great content, and consider what's actually going to fill in and drive purchasing. And the best YouTube campaign in the world will probably lose market share because you're going to miss out on all the other essentials to drive it. So let's look at marketing fact-based decisions. And forgive me for a second, but too many decisions are made through national samples or TV polls or polls somewhere else to talk to everyone. So let's just go through beer purchases. We talked to 28,000 beer purchasers. 75% of this group buy 1+ per year, and 25% buy daily or weekly. So first of all, only 50% buy beer. So the point there is, if you just do a national sample that isn't category purchasers, you're going to make decisions that are not strongly founded. The fact is this 25% actually represents 81% of volume. You need to talk to the frequent purchasers, whether you're in beer, energy drinks, soft drink, coffee. As Vanessa said, we look at 275 categories. The ratios are the same. If you want to make great decisions, talk to the people that buy your product, service, or brand often, because it represents 80 to 90% of the decision. If you look at the bottom left here, using category averages allow for less than 20% of the volume to make up 75% of the decisions. So when they say, this is a great piece of content, is it the right people we're talking to? And this is Canada, US, UK, so it does not matter where we are. It's the same thing. You can't use averages. You need to, if you're going to actually find out the information, spend the money to do a little bit more. Using national studies that are not category specific. So it's a general study you read that you pass on to friends, or it's from Statista or something else, allows for less than 10% of the volume to make decisions for your brand, product, or service. And it's not your fault, but the fact is you need to do fewer things better and make sure you're talking to your customers, and make sure you're talking to your higher volume customers. So we'll get into some decisions. Drivers of purchase by category and intensity. The fact is, let's look at energy drink. We could look at any of the 275, we just picked energy drink. So use of Facebook in Canada, 77%, daily, weekly energy drink purchasers, 85%. Here's 1+ per year at 83%, intend to start drinking, but haven't, 72%. Up 8%, Instagram, up 19%, Pinterest, up 15%, Twitter, 19%, Snapchat, 27%, TikTok, 25%. You get the point. If you look at generals, you look at Canadian, you look at US information, it's not split by your high volume category purchasing, representing 80% of your volume, you're going to make some bad decisions. You might say Snapchat and TikTok are not for you when they actually are and equal to Pinterest and Twitter. And now you can say, where's my best use of time? Also, buy the newest technology when it comes out. 26%, so 1 in 4. Well, that's not true. Among high-end energy drinkers, that's 1 in 4, it's 1 in 2. 27% greater, double. And the fact is, technology might be a good fit for Red Bull or for any other energy drink to try and dig in and meet those people. So let's look at some other dimensions. Fashion, unnatural adjacency. Follow fashion trends, 36% in Canada, 62% among daily, weekly drinkers. Attend a fashion show, 12 versus 33. It's almost double in every single case. So if you look at samples that are national without categories, if you get briefed by media or agencies that are talking about Canada or the US without talking about your category, and more importantly, high frequency in your category, you're going to make some bad decisions. You're not going to come up with fashion being a key driver to be in for energy drink. Is that a natural association? Grey Goose is, but are they? If you look at making them feel good or perceive they're doing good is far more important, again, among energy drinkers. Trusted brand name makes me feel good. local community up 19 points. Supports a cause relate to up 28%. Again, we want to make great decisions. This gives you a choice of these 4. You don't have to pick one. It's a clear identity. The trusted brand name or makes me feel good is where to go, whereas cause comes way up the list if you look at daily, weekly. Support charities up significantly, and it's energy drink. So because I like to be seen using it, it's a badge, and that's important. Not everything's a badge, and we've got lots of other categories. Again, we just picked this one. And sponsorship's big, and they run their own, obviously, events, or Red Bull does, not all energy drinks. And it's 61%, much higher. And even the 1+ per year, the whole category at 50 points, far higher than an average without any category split. So that's category. Make sure you talk to the category, the right people in the category. And let's look at brand users now. So we picked US, Bud, Grey Goose, Saks Fifth, Louis Vuitton, and Gillette. So it supports local community, 48% overall. Grey Goose users, 67%. Saks Fifth, 76%. Louis Vuitton, 60%. Support cancer charities, 38 versus 57, 55, and Louis Vuitton's 57 as well. And the interesting thing here is global causes. Only 25% of Louis Vuitton purchasers or users want to purchase because they support global causes. The fact is, it's 60% for local community. So you can do global causes, just make it really relevant to the community. But there's some massive differences between brand usage. So make sure you embrace them. This one here is called a mental health hotline. If that's somewhere you want to go for a cause, whatever. This is they personally called a mental health hotline. 23% across the US, Budweiser 24%, Gillette 21%, but Saks Fifth 42%. So if we did something in mental health as Saks, it probably would resonate really, really strongly, as would Louis Vuitton, as would Grey Goose. And the point there is you need to understand not only your category, but if you can get down to your brand. And we do look at over 400 different brands, which goes on. Last part is case studies from around the globe. And we look at this, and Tide, for example, simple thing, Tide's promoting washing your clothes in cold water to not only help out the environment, but save $130. The point is just a category of truth, and it drives 38% buying. So you can repurpose category truths. Here's an interesting one we looked at, 2 initiatives for women. One is 50% women led by 2030. And one is made for women first, an actual shoes made for women. This made for women by Lulu actually drove more purchasing, and it was driven by women, obviously. This drove more favorability, 38% more positive. And in fact, men felt better towards Coke because of it than women. A greater percentage of men. I believe that women think it should be that way anyway, but they actually thought it was doing good. So you actually support the whole thing. Cold rooms for testing. Canada Goose has cold rooms in select stores, simulate freezing conditions so customers can test out, which is new. It's an experience in store. People want experience, so they want to try it out. If you remember back, if you look at it, 25% would consider buying. That's an expensive coat. This is among general population across North America. That's a phenomenal look. More positive towards plus 30%. So this is an in-store experience driving it. You look at Adidas, discover unique products only available at Adidas online in-store. Special collection one-time drops. I mean, consider buying 46%, more favorable 25%. Over here, Kiehl's is doing 3 complimentary samples. They're giving away the product. Not nearly as strong, not nearly as brand building. Again, stay to your brand. This is ChatGPT, which is obviously in the news almost every day now. And the point there is very little impact on fanatics with buying better than other companies or feel more positive. Why? 1 in 12 are early adopters. So we'll get those people in, but only 1 in 12. Only 1 in 8, 12% are in that area. And the last thing I believe is, as of July 2020, all Heineken beer in the Dutch market has been brewed using 100% green energy. This was tested in the US. Importing facts about your brand into the US gets 37%, 4 in 10 feeling better about your brand. Versus a high stakes beer ad, Super Bowl spend, 500 grand, not nearly as strong. So again, think about things outside of price, out of promotion that you have in that you can actually repurpose to push through. So what now? Going to go through quickly. Left-hand side, embrace the power of your brand, your customers, your category's best customers that represent 80% of your volume. Profitable segments, campaigns that have worked, repurpose campaigns, campaigns lasting 6 weeks. After 6 weeks, there's a significant decline in impact, whether it's digital, whether it's in-store, whether it's online or on TV, and we can provide you info on that. The 8% of campaigns that drive share, that's how many will actually drive share. and CFOs and RFPs. Right now, the CFO wants to be embraced. They control the purse strings, and RFPs make everyone better. No one loves them. People hate me saying this, but the fact is you're on your best performance, providing the best value with RFPs. So CFOs embrace RFPs will do great things. On the right-hand side, we say recommend avoiding the 41% that are guaranteed to fail. The fact you always have to be on, and the fact is you don't always have to be on. It's actually not prudent to be on. You have to be on your website, but you don't always have to be on social. You have to be findable. You don't have to be always on. And media companies that don't discuss ad fraud, which drives me insane. Ad fraud is bigger than the entire sponsorship industry globally. It's a huge number. And I'd ask yourself, if you're a client, when is the last time an agency has brought you the facts on ad fraud? An agency does not proactively invest in knowing your category. That's us or anyone else. The point is, we just showed you the difference in categories. If they don't know your category, they can't consult for you. They don't earn your business. News and industry rhetoric, they're trying to create negative press. They're not there telling you the good news. They're saying everything's dying. It's not. It's the same. You have to block and tackle, build your brand. Don't treat all customers equally. Treat them well. The fact is not all equal value. Averages kill, always new kill, and temporary price reduction kill. So thank you very much. And I know I'm a bit over, but
that was amazing, Don. A few things that stuck out for me. One, I mean, we've always said content is king, but it has to be the right content to actually drive anything with your consumer. Knowing your high valued consumer or customer, not everything is a blanket statement. And the most important thing too that we've been talking about a lot is a brand is a brand is a brand. If you're in front of your consumer, and if you're in front of a customer or a consumer, you are a brand. So whether you're a private label or you're a mainstream brand, as we call them, you are a brand. The consumer does not decipher them from each other.
You can see in the top 10 list, there's 3 on both sides. Best value brand. So you can't debate it. They don't say, oh, the best private. There's no conditional, oh, the best value private brand. It's just the best value brand.
Exactly. So that was really interesting. We do have some questions, so maybe we'll keep going just for a few minutes if you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
So the first one is, do purchases online, are they linked to social influencers? And we saw this in the Power of Brand and also in Trust Exposed, as well as the human connection, is that the biggest influencers are actually friends and family. When it comes to Gen Z, they are influenced more by influencers, but still friends and family are king. Do you have anything to expand on that one?
So we look at 7 different sets. So family and friends are king. Consumer reviews, positive consumer reviews, are as important as family and friend recommendations, because they're actually buying the category. Influencers, you're always going to hear that story, the Kim Kardashian XYZ, but you go test the 15th to 30th best known influencer or most impactful, awareness will be 3%, and they will not impact. And the fact depends on the category greatly, the impact, because you have to be relevant. A fashion influencer in fashion will impact, but it's not going to impact a set. It's not going to change. So overall purchasing, it's going to represent an extremely small percentage. We should quantify it one day. It's going to be less than 1% over a 12-month period.
Yeah.
And that's inclusive. We test LeBron James all the time in the US. And he has a but if you take LeBron James, Michael Jordan, you can't get, you take Federer in Europe, Serena Williams. Yes, everyone knows about them, but they don't buy a lot of products because of them, because they're all worth $500 million. So there's only certain products they believe that they would actually use. When Tiger Woods used to drive a Buick, no one believed it, because he probably never been in a Buick except to pick up his check and drive it.
Well, it's, I mean, must be nice, but it's also not just using them, but how to, as a brand, do you connect with your consumer and leverage them? So it's not, you don't build your brand on a sponsorship property or on a person. You build your brand on your purpose, your connection, your reason for being in the person's life, and then you can leverage your sponsorships or influencers to enhance that and become a bit of a reason to believe, but it cannot be the focus of your brand.
And celebrity does work. Alumni works tremendously, like alumni sports athletes work, especially in the city. Like, but it's not going to be, it's part of a tactic to activate and engage and embrace. It's not a strategy to beat the competition or to win new customers or to get the high volume customers.
Yeah, exactly. When you're talking about TV, is it clear that it's traditional as opposed to other things they would watch on TV? So is it clear that it's, you know, cable TV with television commercials, or might they be watching YouTube and there's commercials there as well?
That's obvious. That's the typical digital person who loves everything digital and nothing on TV. TV, unfortunately, TV works for those people that think everything is social or YouTube. It's not. The fact that you use a TV commercial and put it on YouTube, it's still so it's a commercial. So I can't segment and don't say it's on cable TV. But I tell you right now, sports are watched live. Most reality TV shows are watched live. Their commercials work tremendously well. Look at how much Super Bowl ads cost these days. Look at the impact of what's going on. They can talk all they want because there's offline channels that are watching. So yes, the fact that it does end up on YouTube is primarily purpose was for TV. So you want to develop content to use on as many channels as possible. You do not want to develop a separate campaign for each individual. It's got to be authentic, but each individual stimulus. So yeah, they do work. YouTube does work. But I can tell you right now, in-store works better. And shopper marketing is like the worst words any person's heard from an agency or client. And it's the most important, it's the best return on investment that you can have is fantastic merchandising and shopper marketing. I'm not saying to do it, but optimize that and then work outbound, the close to the point of purchase. I know no one likes that comment.
Well, we also, there is switching at shelf. People might go in knowing what they want. Sometimes they know the brand that they want, but generally speaking, there is switching at shelf.
Right.
And so that's your last moment to really influence. What about radio? Is radio still a relevant marketing channel?
It has declined. We have the information on it. I didn't share it here because we've got another 110. So radio is, you got to own a market. The fact is, if you're in Toronto, LA, New York, it's a different situation because there's so many channels. I remember this in Australia. There's four radio stations. If you're in a small rural market, it can work tremendously well. I mean, if you're in Toronto, Sol Corman worked real well, but you have to own it and commit to it. Just like Billboard, you can't fake it. It's got to be owned. So again, it's what's the best return on investment? And the best return on investment I've probably personally worked on, 5,000 studies. And close to the point of purchase, whether you're in a dealership, whether you're an online retailer and you got the best web interface, or whether you're in store, those last 3 seconds, 3 minutes is the most important. Radio can work. I would not spend my first dollar there, my second dollar, my third dollar, not saying it's dead. The bigger the center, the more urban you are, the less it's going to work because of the fragmentation. And you can't own it anymore because there's so many different ways people actually live. So it's not on an upswing like magazine actually surprised me to show that increase.
Yeah, that was surprising. But then again, know who your high valued consumer or customer is, or your potential, right, and also your competitors best, and then understand how to get to them. So it's not one size fits all. We have another question here. That what content is researched to drive purchase? So is there specific content that people go to research to drive purchase?
Yeah, it depends what they're buying. They have to have comprehension of your core offer. They have to know how to get you in one core benefit, right? And that benefit has to be better than what they're currently using to buy. So the point is, they're not looking there to be entertained. Entertainment might bring them in, but they have to have content that actually will change their mind. What is it about your product or service or brand that's different? And not even different, it's wrong. What is it about your, like the fact that Heineken did it's all 100% green. It's nothing new. It's been around since 2020. We tested it last week and it tested fantastic. So that's not going to get you by Heineken, but it might create some notoriety. So again, you got to realize 41% of content has no chance of success. None, zero. People don't care about it, won't change attitude, emotion, or behavior. And 8% is game-changing market share driving. So that 50% you need to tweak and execute extremely well. Bad content with unlimited media budget will not work, right? Mediocre content with an unlimited media budget will work. Yeah, there's a lot of wasted money out there. So relevant
compelling, better than competition. We always talk about that. Make sure that it connects with the people that you care about, because if it doesn't, then why are you spending the money? And also repurpose things that you've used before. It just because you're tired of it and just because the boardroom is tired of it doesn't mean that it's not going to connect. So you know, that also helps to resonate the consistency of what you have out there, as long as it's strong and as long as it connects. So we have, there's another question here in terms of just will the recording be shared? It'll be in your inbox early next week. And we're also going to send you the full report as well. And then following this, we'll be releasing smaller versions of the report with new content, with the same content, so that you can share and you can have it with you along your way. If there are any other questions that you have, always feel free to reach out. We're always open to a good conversation. As you see, there's a lot to unpack here. So as you go through the deck, if you have any questions on them, then please don't hesitate to reach out.
And as Vanessa said, we do have 275 categories, 400 brands. So if you want information on your specific brand or category, Canada, US, UK, Australia, other countries, we have it. And we'd be happy to work with you on it. So again, we'd be happy to earn your business and identify how we can do that.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much, Don. This was incredible. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Stay tuned for our next webinar, The Power of Brand Accelerating Through Inflation. And that's going to be in March. So have a look at your inbox, look at our LinkedIn, follow us on LinkedIn, and you'll be the first to know when it comes out.
Thanks, everyone, for your time. Sorry I was late.
Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.